Hi everybody and welcome back to Crafted by Corie. If you're new, I'm Corie. Welcome to my channel. If you're returning, you know how much I adore you. Make sure you stay to the end. I have a fantastic announcement you are not going to want to miss out. Today is the Minis Challenge playlist, so you're going to want to get all of the inspiration for the minis. Check out the link in my description box when you're done with my video. And a special thanks to Cricut for sponsoring today's video. More about that in a little bit. For now, let's go ahead and get right on into the crafting. DIY number 1. For this project, I am starting out with some, I guess you would call that vase filler from Hobby Lobby. I have it in my stash for a while. I have a couple of really thin vases that I also had in my stash. My sister had given them to me a while back. I have what was a candle, so the glass candle holder is all that remains, and I have 3 of these awesome trays from the Dollar Tree. So I am just filling my little glass, what used to be the candle holder, with some of the vase filler and just getting that nice and full. And then I'm going to be putting one of the trays right down on top of it. Just going to use some hot glue for this, putting that around the edge. My thought here is that this is not going to be a permanent bond, so I can easily take it apart later to put different things in here for different holidays. So hopefully you're getting what I'm doing here. So I also have this fun, I don't know what you would even call this, a faux sparkler maybe? I don't know, but it's celebratory, and I just thought it would be so fun to put down inside of this little bud vase, right, that I'm going to be using as the riser for my next layer of my tray. Now, I did intend for this to be a 3-tiered tray, and then I ended up cracking one of the bud vases that you're going to see here in a second. And so I was trying to put that little wire across the top, and that's where I broke it. Right, I hadn't trimmed it down quite enough, and I forced it, and so now it's going to be a 2-tiered tray instead. But the reason I was doing that, the little sparkler, for lack of a better term, that I'm placing down in here, over time I didn't want it to sag and end up kind of drooping in the bottom. So I wanted something across the top that would support it. So I glued the little tip of it to the stem that I'd cut off, and then I anchored that stem at the top of the bud vase. Hopefully that's making sense. So you can see it's kind of like a little T at the top there. Then I'm going to go ahead and secure my bud vase to the tray, and then I'm also going to do the same. Sorry, I'm out of frame here. It's this new camera angle that I've been working with, but I added some more hot glue around the edge of that, and I'm putting that down. I did it upside down this time to make sure that I was going to be able to see where the center was. So hopefully that makes sense. So I'm going to flip this back right side up, and now you can see my cute little 2-tiered tray. Let me know what you think. So today's video is part of the Minis Challenge. I love minis, and this is a challenge I host here on my channel. If you are interested in participating, the next challenge will be held Friday, July 16th. It's going to be Christmas in July. Can't wait. DIY number 2. So for this project, I am starting out with these little wooden cubes that I got from the Dollar Tree, and I realized while I was measuring it that it actually said on there what it was supposed to be. It's 2¼ inches. I actually end up using a different block that's a little bit smaller later, but I am so excited, you guys. I have received a Cricut Joy from Cricut, and I have been wanting one of these machines for so long because I had heard that they are fantastic for quick and easy little projects. And let me tell you, it did not disappoint. This was a joy to work with. See what I did there? But I downloaded the app onto my phone. It took me 30 seconds to get myself set up on the app. It took about 30 seconds to set up the machine. It is Wi-Fi enabled, so all you have to do is plug it in and it hooks up to your phone and you're good to go. The app is super easy to use. Now you saw that I was using that first sheet of vinyl. It's called Smart Vinyl. So the Joy uses smart materials, meaning that they don't require a mat. Now you see that I am using the little mat that came with it because you do have that option for this next little cut job that I'm doing, because I'm kind of the thought of waste not, want not, and I trimmed down my first project and I had this extra vinyl and I wanted to use the extra vinyl. And you need to have a certain amount, I think, in order for it to run through the machine properly, and this odd shape was not going to do it. So I added it, I put it on the little mat and I designed it with the grids in mind, because in the app itself you see all those little grids also, so you can figure out exactly where you want your design to be cut. Hopefully that's making sense. So I did that, and you just hit like unload, it unloads it, and this is so super easy. I went ahead and cut out another word in red, and then once I had all of those cut, I think I actually did do one in silver as well, and that I'm going to show you. So again, I'm going to use the little mat. For the red, I didn't use the mat. Now I'm back to using the mat because I cut out that teeny little piece of vinyl that I had from a scrap from setting up the machine and cutting out my little ampersand that I wanted to use for my project. So once I had everything cut, I went ahead and weeded everything. I'm not going to put you through watching me weed everything because I'm sure you've seen a lot of people weed their projects, and here with the white vinyl you can't even see what I'm doing. So I don't know, there's something a little bit satisfying about it. But once I had that set, here I'm showing you the wood pile, and I decided to go with these because once I had my words cut out, I decided I wanted them to fill up the space a little bit more than they were going to do on those other blocks. I'm showing you all my paint colors. It was the Imperial Red by Home Decor, the Ocean by Waverly, and the Adirondack White also by Home Decor. They're all plaid products. Love plaid. You know, it's funny, over time I've learned that most of what I use is plaid, and half the time I didn't even realize that that was what I was using. But the first block I did entirely blue. The second block I started with 2 blue panels opposite each other, and now on the third block, while those are drying, I'm coming in and doing white on 2 panels opposite each other. Now I'm going back to block number 2 and I'm adding in 2 more panels of white opposite from each other. So on block number 2, I'm going to have 2 white, 2 blue, and 2 red panels, and they're all going to be opposite each other, so the colors are nice and mixed. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing here, because now I'm coming in with the red. Now I didn't bother to tape any of these off. I figured it was going to be just fine doing it this way. I was just real careful at the edges to sweep my brush off the edge as opposed to letting it wrap down around the side of the cube. Hopefully you're understanding what I mean. But I managed to get really nice crisp edges, so I was very happy with it. So with block number 3 now, the white is dry on those 2 panels, and then I'm just going to paint the remaining 4 panels with the red. So hopefully you're seeing my patriotic theme that's going on here. So now I am going to go ahead and prep all of the words that I had weeded using my Cricut transfer tape. I'm just going to burnish it and then peel away the backing. And once I have that ready to go, and I had this really long piece of transfer tape. I don't know why I didn't cut it down, but that's why you see the paper on it. Normally I just remove the paper entirely, but I realized I really didn't need the entire length that I was working with. So, but as you can see, again, I'm just using the same transfer tape over and over because it's not a one and done, right? So that's what I love about some of these products, is that you can go ahead and use them multiple times. I don't know why I was struggling with this one, but trying to get that backing off. But went ahead and got it on the transfer tape, applied it, burnished it, and then just peeled away the transfer tape. really easy. Now, if you do not have a vinyl cutter, do not fret, because you can hand letter these. You could print something off of your printer and use graphite paper and trace them on that way. There are a lot of different ways that you can do things like this. You could use a stencil. It doesn't have to be a vinyl cutter. But if you have a vinyl cutter and you want to use that, you know, all the power to you. Now, of course, I got my stars and stripes on here and realized that I put my ampersand on the white, and I really wanted to put it on the red so I would have one red, one white, and one blue block showing. So I'm very carefully using my little spatula that Cricut sent with the package that they had sent to me. And I managed to get it off. I did end up putting it back on the transfer tape, and I'm trying to be real careful not to put my fingers all over the adhesive because I don't want to make it not sticky anymore with the oils from my fingers. So I managed to get it reshaped on the transfer tape and got it applied to the red block. So there we go. And yeah, I think it looks super, super cute. And so these are little stackable blocks with our red, white, and blue. And then the other little thing that I had cut out with that extra vinyl before, I had just made a bunch of little stars. And it was simply a matter of selecting a shape in the Cricut app. They have all kinds of shapes, all kinds of designs that are all set and ready. You just select it, you know, make it whatever size with your fingers that you want it to be using the grid on the app, and then you send it to cut. It's so super easy. I am in love with the Joy. Just absolutely love it. So super easy to use, super quick, and you can take it anywhere because it's so compact. I love it. I can't say enough good things about it, you guys. So here is my little stars and stripes. Let me know what you think of this one. DIY number 3. So for this project, I have 3 little circles that I've gotten from a value pack of wood pieces from the Dollar Tree, and then I showed you 2 larger circles that came from, I believe it was a pack of 8 circles that I had left over from other projects. I have all of those fun paper straws from the Dollar Tree that are patriotic for the United States. And then I was showing you my Star Bond glue that I'm using with the accelerator. Now this accelerator, I'm telling you, it sticks immediately. I hadn't quite lined up those first 2 circles completely, and when I stuck them together, there was just no moving them. So it was okay because these aren't going to see. These will not be seen. They will be hidden. So it was good enough for my purposes. So now I am taking my 2 larger circles, I'm giving one side a quick coat of my Adirondack white chalk paint, and you're not going to see the underside, which is why I only did one side of it. I know you all, if you've watched me for any length of time, know that I like to have all of my sides of my projects completely finished. So not to worry, the unpainted side will not be seen. So I've got my little Joy out once more. I'm going to do a very simple design. So it's not even really a design. I'm cutting out USA. So I'm just going through the app. I'm picking out a font that I want. I'm typing in USA, and then I'm going to use my fingers to just make it the size that I want it. And once I have it where I want it, I'm going to go ahead and get it cut out on my little machine. So you can see there, USA. I'm just checking and making sure that it's what I want. And then I'm going to send it to cut. So opening up my little Joy. I do have this on the mat again, only because I'm using a scrap piece. And went ahead and hit send. After it loaded, it's cutting it out. And then it tells me it's done. I hit unload and it's done, right? So I am putting my little protective sheet back on there. If you haven't worked with a vinyl cutter before, the mats are sticky to hold and grip the vinyl when it's going through the machine. So I always like to just put my protector back over top of it so that it doesn't get you know, dust and hair and Sammy fur on it. So I like to keep it clean. So I have my little white rounds that are dry now, and I'm prepping my letters. And once I get that off, just using my little burnishing tool to help me with that, I'm going to apply it to the center of one of my white painted circles. So just gonna burnish that. And again, you can hand letter this, you could stencil this, you know, there are a lot of different ways that you could do this. You do not have to have a vinyl cutter to make this project. Okay. So now I am going to take one of my rounds, and I have a piece of parchment paper, and I am just going to trace the round on here, and I'm cutting it out. I'm making a little template, basically a little pattern, and then I'm going to fold it in half a few different times. And the reason I'm doing this is I'm looking for center, and this is the easiest way for me personally to find the middle of a project. So I am just folding it a bunch of times until I am certain that they're all intersecting in the middle, and then I'm going to fold it all over on itself along those creases, snip a teeny tiny little hole at the point, and then I'm going to mark the center on my wood round. So now I'm going to do the same thing with the little one. I'm just using the larger cutout that I already have, and I just traced my small circle, did the same thing, folding it, finding center. I'm just going to mark that one. I'm lining that up with the mark on my wood because I'm using parchment paper so I can see through it, right? So I know you can't really see here in the video, but I was able to line up my two little markings. So I know that I have my circle in the center here. I started to trace it. Parchment paper is a little challenging to trace because it kept wanting to lift. So I am just using the edge of my pencil and kind of scribbling around it so I can see where I'm going to want to set my circle down. And I'm not worried about this being messy because again, this is not going to be showing. So using some of my glue, using my accelerator and putting that down, and then it is bonded. So now I'm taking my Patriotic straws, and I was trying to decide how many of these I was going to need. There were 8 of the blue and then 8 of the red and white stripes, and I decided I only needed 4 of the blue because I'm going to be cutting them in half. So here I am trying to find center, and I ended up giving up because it wasn't like an even number and math just wasn't working for me that night. So I did it by eye, and you know, would you believe that I actually cut it right in the middle? I could not do that again if you paid me, but I just used that first one that I cut and used that as my little measure to cut down the rest of them. And hopefully you're starting to get an idea of what I'm doing here. I'm going to be making a little flag starburst sort of thing. I guess that's what you would call this, is like a starburst. But the straws were rolling around on me a little bit, so I decided to start squeezing the little ends. So I just kind of smooshed the end that I knew was going to get glued down to help prevent it from rolling a little bit. And so maybe like a quarter to a half an inch at the bottom, I did that. And then I went ahead and cut down all 8 of my red and white striped straws and just did the same thing. I had used one of my blue ones to measure it, and then I just cut them all down in half. And then I went ahead and I squooshed the little ends of all of my red and white striped straws too. So once I had them all lined up where I wanted them, I just made sure that they were spaced around there and all butting up to that center circle. And then I used a whole bunch of hot glue. And I was very generous with this, and I let it kind of ooze in between all the straws so that I made sure that it was getting down into the wood on the base so that they would be nice and secure. And then I put a whole bunch of glue in the middle and took my other circle and set it right on top, made sure it was lined up, and I pressed down so that all of the straws would lift up off the table because they were all kind of like slanted a little bit, and now they are evenly between the 2 rounds. I think this is so sweet. Let me know what you think. DIY number 4. So I am starting with this little sign from the Dollar Tree, every moment matters, and it certainly does, and I take that to heart. However, for this project, I am going to be covering that up and painting over it. First, I decided to take out the little hanger, and I'll use that for another project for another day. So I am going to use my Adirondack white chalk paint in a moment, but I actually found my painter's tape, you guys, and so I am going to tape this off. I do like the gold edging on this, and so I wanted to protect it and not get white paint on it. So I went ahead and took care of that, and then I gave it probably 3 or 4 coats of my white chalk paint. That was what it took to get that completely covered. So once that was all done and I was satisfied that I couldn't see the image through it any longer, I went ahead and peeled off all of the painter's tape. That's always super satisfying. And then I set it aside to let it dry the rest of the way. So I am back to my app because I'd been playing with the Joy app, and I think I mentioned before they have all kinds of neat designs that are already created. And so I had found this one called Home Sweet Home. Now this one's a little bit more complicated because it actually is 3 colors, but I wanted to show it because I wanted to make it, first of all. I just thought it was really cool. And then I also figured I'd be able to show you how I lined up the 3 different colors, and also how the machine works with this. It's really cool. So I went to go ahead and tell it to cut, and I'm going to show you here on the app. So it shows you exactly what it's going to cut with each color, and it's just going to do it in 3 different sets. Isn't that smart? I just thought that was so neat. So here I've got my little Joy. I've just plugged it in. I'm gonna put my vinyl on I'm using the matte this time because I am using a regular vinyl, and then I'll be using some smart vinyl, and I had to tell it to use the matte for the regular vinyl. So that's what I ended up using for all 3. I'm not going to go through all of this with you guys because I've already shown you how the machine works in this regard, but I used blue for the one piece, which is one of the homes with the whole stars, and then Sweet was cut out in silver, and then the other home was cut out in red. I believe that was the order. Hopefully my memory is serving me correctly. So I got it all weeded, and here I am trying to put it together. So I essentially looked back on the app to inform my memory and how it needed to go together, because I did not use registration marks for this. I don't know if you can use registration marks with the Joy. That's something I've got to learn. I haven't had enough time to play with it to figure that part out. But this was just as easy for me. So if you just follow the picture, you can absolutely piece it back together. So I'm using the backing of the transfer tape because when I go to add the other pieces of this, I don't want my vinyl that's already on the transfer tape to end up sticking to my work surface. Right? So I want to make sure that I've got something under it that is going to not stick to the vinyl, or not allow the vinyl to stick to it. And everything was curling up on me here, so I just taped everything down strategically in places where it wasn't going to get in the way. If I had to do it again, I would have taped it underneath so that the tape wouldn't have had any risk of getting in the way of my vinyl. So do as I say, not as I do. If you're going to do this, circle your tape and stick it underneath, almost like a double-sided tape, so that it's nowhere near your vinyl. All right, just a word to the wise, because I almost had a mishap with it. I got lucky and I was able to salvage it, but yeah. So I went ahead and peeled up the second one, and then I did the same thing with that third piece and just made sure that I was getting it where it was supposed to sit within the design. And if it's not 100% perfect, it's fine. It's still going to look super cute. Once I had it ready to go, I went ahead and I lined it up, made sure that it was all centered, went ahead and burnished it, and now I'm peeling away the transfer tape. And look at this. I love this so much, and it was so easy to do. Love, love, love. So now it's time for a shout out timeout. Awesome. Debbie started her own YouTube channel. Yay, Debbie. Debbie's Days and Designs. I hope you'll check her out. And beautiful Julia. I love all of this patriotic decor, and very nice Valerie. I love, love, love it. Thank you so much for sharing. If you would like to have a shout out, I would love to give you one. So please email me at craftedbycorie@gmail.com. DIY number 5. For this project, I am using one of these little mini palettes from the Dollar Tree, and this is just a concoction. It's watered down paint that I've had for some time. I had mixed it a while back, and I just pull it out and use it when I need to. The reason I'm doing this is to help make this little palette look old and worn, as if it's been outside. And the thought here, this was Rich's idea. My fiance Rich had said, you know all those palettes that people put out in their yards and they have painted American flags on them? Maybe you can make a mini one of those. So I loved that idea, and that's what we are doing. So I wanted it to look old and weathered, and now I'm coming in with my Ocean by Waverly. And again, I am not taping this off. I'm just doing it by hand. It doesn't need to be perfect because I actually want it to look rustic and like it's been outdoors. So went ahead and did my little rectangle in the top left corner. And now I'm going to come in and start with my stripes. Now, when I started doing this, I realized I probably should do my white stripes first, because it would be easier to come over white with red rather than trying to come over red with white, because they're all going to kind of blend together here a little bit. So I'm coming in with my white stripes now and getting those done, and then I will come back in with the red. Now, if you've been watching me, you know that I recently did a little flag that I had painted. It was like a faux stack of books, and I had painted a flag on the top of them, and I had too few stripes and too many states, like too many stars. So I was determined to get this one right. So I'm just taking my time and figuring it out, because I know that I need 6 white stripes and I need 7 red stripes. So that's what I did here. And obviously there's a lot more white filling things in right here, but I'm gonna go ahead and get it taken care of with the red. So, and it all worked out perfectly. So coming back in with my red and getting all of that situated. If you're enjoying this video, I hope you'll give me a big thumbs up, and please be sure to comment, because it really does help YouTube to recognize my channel and help me to grow. And be sure to keep watching, because I do have that announcement I'm going to be making in a little bit. You are not going to want to miss out. I am so excited about what I'm going to be doing. You are going to love it. So coming in with all of my states now, and gave it a little help with my heat gun to dry it, and now I'm just using my sanding block to give it a quick little sand. And there we have it. It's all done. I think this is so sweet. DIY number 6. So I have these stickers from when my son first went into the Marines, and they've been sitting in my stash. I hadn't really known what to do with them. And then I've got from the wood pile, I think these were $2.99 for 2 from Hobby Lobby. So I've pulled one of those out. I got it prepped, and I am just going to give it a good coat of my Adirondack white chalk paint by Home Decor, and I'm going to coat all sides of this. Once it was all dry, I'm literally just going to take my sticker, I'm just using one of them, and I'm going to apply it. I'm centering it in the middle of my round, and then I'm just going to burnish it gently with my little Cricut tool here. This is such an easy project. If y'all know somebody who has a family member in the military, this is something you could easily do. And, you know, this is just an idea for inspiration also, right? So you could put anything on these rounds. They're fantastic. So now I'm coming in with some brushed metal gold paint and just going to give it a nice trim. I just thought it would set it off nicely since there's gold in the sticker design. And now I want to let you know what I am doing. I appreciate all of you so much. My channel has been growing and it just makes my heart happy with all the comments you all provide and the likes and the shares, and thank you so much. At the time I'm recording this, I'm a little over 17,000 subscribers, and when I hit 20,000 subscribers, I am going to have a drawing for a Cricut Joy bundle package. So I am going to give away a Joy with some of the tools and some of the materials that go along with it. And so when you comment on today's video, because this is the video from which I will be doing the drawing when I hit 20,000 subscribers, you will be entered to win. All you have to do is comment, let me know what gives you joy. Let me know what gives you joy, and it can have something to do with the 4th of July holiday, it can have something to do with hometown pride, or just anything that gives you joy. Let me know what gives you joy, and you will be entered to win as soon as I hit 20,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for your support. I absolutely adore every single one of you. So I am just finishing this up with the gold trim, and then that is going to be it. Such an easy and sweet project, and this really has a special place in my heart because my son is a member of the Marines, and yeah, super proud. So let me know what you think. And apparently I'm going to show you a whole lot more of this trimming, so thank you for your patience. There we go. And here we are with the final reveal. Okay, everybody, that's it for today. If you enjoyed the project, please be sure to give me a big thumbs up. Again, special thanks to Cricut for sponsoring today's video. If you loved the minis and you want more minis inspiration, be sure to check out the link down in my description box, because that will take you to the playlist so you can see all of the fantastic crafters that are participating in today's challenge. So until the next time, be well, be kind, and make it a great day. Thank you so much for watching. Take good care. Bye.